for when your cat gets stuck in a tree. Let's all pray to God no one's house burns down while he's singing. Ladies and gentlemen, Fire Chief Freddie Christensen. The show for 30 years. First time they had me on, I wrote a little song about fire safety. All the kids loved it. They asked me to go to all the schools and sing it to the kids so that they could learn what to do in case there was a fire. I've been your fire chief for 30 years since then. I've seen everything. So I've written some new songs for you. I'm going to start with the first one, the hits, so you all remember, in case you're in the fire. If you touch the doorknob and it's hot, then my child, you should not. Try to exit out that door. Find another way and stay low to the floor. 30 years as a fire chief in Alaska. You know, I went down to New York City once, and I talked to the fire chief in one of the local, I don't know, bureaus, towns, whatever they have down there. And he said, how can you have fires in Alaska? It's so cold and snowy. If you're lost in the woods and a blizzard hits you by surprise, eat your shoes when you run out of supplies. Your feet will be cold and the shoes will be inedible, but it doesn't matter because you're just delaying the inevitable. 30 years ago, I didn't realize how long it took to respond to a fire in Alaska. I'm the fire chief for this county. This is the third largest county in the United States. It covers 6,000 miles. Sometimes there's a fire and you're just like, sorry. If you smell smoke while lying in your bed, just close your eyes and remember that God is dead. Down in California. It was one of the oldest trees that ever grew in the world. It was called Prometheus. They named it after the hero who stole fire from the gods and gave it to man. What a hero. In 1964, a graduate student chopped down that tree. A lot of people blamed that graduate student, said, you cut down this 5,000-year-old tree. Well, they did it under the supervision of the park rangers with permission of the state. And the thing is, they didn't know. They didn't know that it was 5,000 years old. It was just some old tree. And they didn't know until they cut it down and they counted its rings and found it was one of the oldest trees in the world. And sometimes you can't find beauty in something until you destroy it. Always fully put out your cigarettes. You could spend your life living with regret. If you love your wife and you want to protect her, always check the batteries in your smoke detector. I used to be married. Sometimes I go up to the big hill at the end of the main road. That's what we call it, the big hill on Main Road. And I go to the top and I scream her name as loud as I can. Lydia! And for every once in a while, I like to pretend that she can hear me. And sometimes she can't because she lives at the top of that hill. And she'll yell back. And then she'll call the cops. And it's just a little game that we play with each other. If you're feeling woozy and your body feels weak, go outside, it might be a gas leak. If you're feeling like maybe this is the day, just lay in bed and let the fumes take you away. I used to be on the other end of the main road. You guys won't remember this unless you're real old. There's a little mom and pop oil refinery at the end of the road. And that's where Lydia worked. She worked in a laboratory in there. They studied oil and how to refine it into gold. And one day we got a call. This was right when I started. Not long after that first song. And they said, "There's a fire." And I said, "Okay." And as it turns out, there was so much security at this place that there were all these different keys that you had to use to get into the fire extinguisher, to get into the room, to get into all these different things. And I guess as part of my job, I was supposed to maintain those things. I didn't quite do my job. It was something Lydia would always get on me about. Be more responsible. I was like, whatever. But that day it really affected me because by the time we got there, I told them I don't have the keys, so we can go there, but we're not going to be able to get in the lab. So they called a professional. They called someone in to bust that lock open. And when I got in there, I saw him carrying Lydia out, and if you find yourself handling a substance that is toxic, take care or your wife will leave you for a locksmith. Wearing goggles is good and chewing gum is bad. And someday your kids will call someone else dad. There's two main causes of fires, as far as I see it. I want to leave you with this so that we can all be safe. Human error is the number one. Somebody messes up, somebody lets a cigarette light too long, somebody fucks up the wiring in a house, an electrician. Human error, that's the number one cause. The number two cause, wood. In order to prevent yourself from being in a situation with a fire, you need to eliminate both of those things from your life. So build yourself a fireproof home and make sure that you always live alone. You can do that by building a house of bricks and mud and make yourself a person who's unworthy of love.